Hey hooligans, today we are talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, aka Deadpool 3. Now, I have to say this movie is definitely a theatrical experience. I think it's definitely more fun to go see this in person at a movie theater where you could just see the crowd reactions. It's definitely more of an experience than just watching a movie.
On your left.
I would say this movie is almost as exciting as No Way Home or Spider-Verse, although I still personally like those movies better just because my connection towards Spider-Man is a little stronger than to Deadpool or Wolverine. I still don't think it's anywhere close to like the hype around Infinity War or Endgame. I mean, I don't think anything will come close to that. But you know what else helped the theatrical experience to this movie? It's the soundtrack. The soundtrack was really recognizable. I said, damn, that's the Disney budget right there. There was like a major song every 10 minutes or so. I just found myself singing along the whole time. Now, is this movie a part of the bigger MCU picture? I mean, it kind of technically is, but it really is not important in the grand scheme of things, at least I don't think. But I feel like that's a good thing in the time where a lot of us are experiencing Marvel fatigue. I think it's actually a good thing to not make us have to do the homework and connect every single movie or TV show together. I'm actually glad it focused more on Deadpool and Wolverine, exactly what the title offers us. Also, I still just can't wrap my head around Deadpool interacting with the rest of the MCU. He's just too much of his own like main character that I can't imagine that. I think this movie is less about connecting the MCU, but more so about putting a rest to the Fox universe and saying, you know what, let's forget about canon for a second, let's forget about timelines, and let's just have fun and let's just celebrate what we had from Fox. Some people might be a little bit disappointed though, because allegedly some of the original X-Men characters were supposed to show up, like Jean Grey and Storm, but none of the actual X-Men showed up. But you know what that means? They're still waiting to officially introduce the mutants to the official MCU timeline. With that being said, this movie definitely still rewards hardcore fans with cameos, references, Easter eggs, inside jokes, etc. The major player from the MCU that is actually involved in the plot of the movie is the TVA, which was first introduced in Loki. Now, I only watched the first season of Loki, so I have no idea what happened in the second season, but this movie makes it easier for people who have never seen Loki because they do some explaining who the TVA is, what they do, etc. You don't need to know anything about Loki, basically. So the majority of this movie actually takes place in the Void, which is this scrap wasteland where a member of the TVA will prune a character when they are no longer relevant in a universe and they go to the Void. And you know, I actually thought the Void looked kind of beautiful. Like there were deserts, there were mountains, canyons, and forests. I thought it was really cool. I imagined the Void to be more like, you know, an Inside Out where Bing Bong was disappearing. Like that was more gloomy than what was shown in the Void here. And of course, in a setting where characters get pruned, there's a lot of excuses to have cameos. Yes, there were so many cameos. I'm only just going to cover a few of them. So the most notable one is Chris Evans is back, but not as Captain America, as the Human Torch from when he was originally in Fantastic Four. I thought that was really fun, and then I recognized some of the original X-Men villains like Sabretooth, Pyro, and there was like the Toad guy, but from what I understand, those are not the original actors. Another really big reveal was the original Blade from 1998. There was also the original Elektra, played by Jennifer Garner. There was also Channing Tatum as Gambit, which was, I guess, an inside joke in the industry because apparently he was supposed to play Gambit in a movie that never got made. But I think he was my favorite of the cameos because he had more to do. I hated his costume though. Like that looked so bad. It looked worse than cosplay. Also, his accent was so bad, but I think it was part of the joke. Like they made fun of it, and it was so bad that like I didn't even understand what he was saying. So I was glad that Deadpool like started translating for him. But Gambit has been having a moment in 2024 because he had a great showing in X-Men 97, and seeing him in live action using his powers where the cards would glow purple, like that was a really cool thing to see. X-23 is also in this movie. She's the little girl girl from Logan. She's all grown up now. I kept on thinking she looks like a younger version of Vanessa, Deadpool's ex. I don't know if that's just me. But yeah, these characters team up together to kind of take on the villain of the movie. I thought this was the most random team up ever. Some of them do survive at the end actually, so I'm wondering, will they actually end up going into the official MCU world, or are they just going to stay in Deadpool's little corner of the universe? Because from what I understand, they're still in a separate universe from 616 because Deadpool saved his own universe. But speaking of the villain of the movie, it's Cassandra Nova, who I have never heard of. I literally thought it was Tilda Swinton for like the first 30 seconds when she was on screen, but apparently she is Professor X's long lost evil twin. I thought her powers looked really cool, like especially when she put her hands inside of Deadpool's face and a couple of other characters' face. I thought she was like super overpowered, especially when she skinned Chris Evans like in 3 seconds. But like, what was her motivation? Like, that part confused me. I feel like Marvel has always just had such a bad job writing villains and killing them off too, because she also got killed off at the end of this movie with a very kind of anticlimactic end. But basically Cassandra was like, I want to take over the world and be the ruler of the world, but like, why? Also, the fact that she had one of Doctor Strange's like portal thingies just to get them outside of the void, I thought that was just a really convenient plot device, but like, whatever. It does give an excuse for like an epic moment, especially when all of the Deadpool variants showed up later. I definitely didn't expect Cassandra to be the main villain of this movie. I thought she was going to be a cameo, but no, she actually ended up being the big bad. But that's actually what I kind of like about the Deadpool series, is that it often highlights the characters that are never mentioned in the main Marvel universe. So it's cool for more of a casual fan like myself to get introduced to characters that I've never heard of. So let's talk about our main character, Deadpool. So at the start of the movie, Deadpool is talking with Happy on the 616 universe. First of all, how did he get to 616? We'll just not talk about that. And he wants to be an Avenger because he remembers how Vanessa kind of sees more for him and thinks that he could be something bigger than what he is right now. And the TVA also recognizes that Deadpool is important, so they hire him and tells him that his universe is going to disappear. And this is because the Wolverine from Logan is actually in the same universe as Deadpool, apparently, and Logan was the anchor for the universe. And so when he dies, that means the universe is going to die because it will no longer be relevant. But it's kind of funny because they're basically calling Deadpool irrelevant. And one of the members of the TVA, called Paradox, wants to destroy this universe faster. They also didn't explain why he wants to destroy it faster, I guess just for convenience sake. And so this causes Deadpool to go find a different Logan from another universe to bring into his universe. Also, fun fact, the Wolverine from Logan actually died in the year 2029. So it's a little inconsistent since this movie takes place in 2024, which means there should still be 5 years before the Wolverine in that universe dies. But again, we're not caring about the consistencies, are we? So at the end of the movie, Deadpool does become kind of a hero again because he's willing to sacrifice himself for the entire universe. I also thought Deadpool in the beginning as a car salesman with a toupee stapled to his scalp was a really, really funny look. And that's the thing, Ryan Reynolds' humor is definitely one of the biggest strengths of the Deadpool movies. He's just so goddamn funny. A lot of meta jokes, poking fun at the MCU itself, poking fun at Disney and Fox, and they even make fun of Mad Max. I will say though, even though I do find Ryan Reynolds very, very funny, it's like very millennial core, like especially when he was doing a dance off to NSYNC, like that's so millennial, but I find it very endearing. And you know what matters is that Ryan is still a marketing genius. Like, he was doing a great job marketing to Gen Z on TikTok. Like, he he is just so smart when it comes to the business side of things. I also thought the Deadpool variants were pretty interesting. I thought Nicepool was really funny. His whole shtick is that he's like super nice, and he's the only one that can't regenerate because I guess he's just too nice to regenerate. And what I found super funny was that when he said sorry, he said sorry because he's Canadian, and the joke is that Canadians are supposed to be super nice. Also, I have to mention Dogpool obviously because he's just so cute. I think my favorite variant that I saw was the Cyber Deadpool. I have no idea what comic he's from, but I thought it just looked really cool. Also, they didn't reveal what Lady Deadpool looked like underneath her mask, but she is voiced by Blake Lively, who is obviously married to Ryan Reynolds, so that was a really cute touch. And of course, there was that epic fight scene where Deadpool and Wolverine are killing through the entire mob of other Deadpools, basically a pool of dead Deadpools. Also, speaking of fight scenes, this movie had some really creative, fun fight scenes, especially in the very beginning when Deadpool was using Logan's skeleton to kill off the TVA members. And it's obviously really cool to see the full skeleton look like it's made out of metal because it's obviously adamantium. Also, the fight scenes were definitely very violent and it was bloody, but honestly, if any of you have seen The Boys, it's just like, it's child's play at this point. I also loved every time that Wolverine and Deadpool would fight each other, because when you have two characters that are basically invulnerable, it's such a perfect excuse to just fight each other and stab each other over and over again. I especially loved the fight scene in the car. Okay, now let's talk about Wolverine. So the Wolverine in this movie is the worst Wolverine, I guess, according to them, because he's a failure in his universe because he let all the X-Men die, and then he went on this rampage and killed a bunch of people, including innocent people. And then he got his redemption at the end also because he was willing to sacrifice himself with Deadpool to save the universe. And I thought it was interesting when that one TVA lady was like, you know, if you didn't go through the failures that you did in your universe, you might not have ended up here to save the universe after all. I also thought it was funny when Wolverine asked Deadpool, is he ADHD? Because clearly he shows a lot of the symptoms, and all of his movies are just so ADHD. Also, Hugh Jackman's physicality is so great in this movie. He acted and moved more like Wolverine than he ever has. And at 55, goddamn, does he look good. We also got a bunch of Wolverine variants. I thought they were fun. I'm not really familiar with the comics, so I didn't get the same reaction as some people did, but the ones that I thought were funny were the comic accurate height for Wolverine, which apparently he's 5'3", and he just looks so tiny compared to the actual 6'3" Hugh Jackman. We also got a cameo of Henry Cavill as Wolverine, which surprisingly, he looked a lot like Wolverine. I was really shocked. And of course, we have to talk about the moment when Wolverine put on his iconic mask. A lot of people in the theater clapped. I remember when they first showed the pictures of Wolverine and Deadpool, everyone on the internet was like, where's his mask? Are they not going to give him his mask? And they even did like 3D renderings of what he would look like with the mask on. So it made for a great moment when they revealed that he actually did have the mask all along. And obviously it looks exactly like the comics, but I just think it still looks kind of goofy in live action, I can't lie. But overall, I'm going to give this movie a 3.5 out of 5 dog pools. It's not my favorite Deadpool movie. I still think the first one is the best. This one feels a lot less focused, like there was barely a plot. The plot was basically Deadpool goes to save the universe, but like, which hero is not saving the universe these days? It kind of just felt like a bunch of action sequences put together into a movie, but you know, it did make for a great comedy action movie, and I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really fun, and it's refreshing to see a Marvel movie that is more self-contained than trying to expand even more. And of course, there was a lot of fan service. I think a lot of people are going to be happy with that. So it's not the best, but I thought it was a really good time. But I want to hear what you guys thought about this movie. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And that's all I had for you guys today, so I will see you guys in the next one. Hey hooligans, thanks for watching this review. If you enjoyed that, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and check out these videos available right now.